Hello and welcome to Shifty Crab News Break, where we bring you just a pinch of the week's gaming news and discuss all those amazing games we can't wait to get our hands on. And we've got lots to talk about tonight because I am your host, Terry Jeffs, and joining me as always is the debating, dominating, campaigning, reigning Adam Very.
Hello.
How are you, Adam? Is it coming home?
It is coming home. There are 3 lines on the shirt, not this shirt, but it is coming home.
It is coming home. Jules Rimet still gleaming. And of course, joining us as always is the best beard in the business, Mr. Vince Haley. How are you, Vince?
Doing great. It's coming home, guys.
It is coming home. I'm glad you agree, Vince.
Not to your home.
No.
It's going to our home. But yes.
But Vince knows exactly what we're talking about right now. So,
oh yeah, coming home.
Were you celebrating?
Of course, celebrating that sweet Bloodborne victory.
How are you getting on with Bloodborne, Vince? How are you getting on? Give us an update.
Finished it. It's all done.
Oh my goodness.
Yep. Last 2 bosses in the can. We've done it, boys.
Wow.
We've done it.
What an accomplishment.
Right.
What an accomplishment.
I feel like I contributed a lot to your success there. So this is a team effort.
This is the team effort, yeah. Retroactively, Adam has also beat Bloodborne.
Thank you. Don't need to play that.
Yep. He's done it.
What we like to see.
Speaking of PlayStation games, we've literally just come straight hot off the press of watching the latest State of Play, which was pretty much a Deathloop feature plus some other little sprinkling of little games. So first of all, we'll start with Deathloop. This is like the 27th trailer we've seen of it now. How are you guys feeling about it? Adam? You said you're starting to, the more you see of it, you're starting to feel a little bit more lukewarm.
Yeah, the concept of this game at first seemed very unique, and in my head I saw it as a kind of an open world situation in the sense of you had how many is it 8 or something?
Something like that,
6 or 8 or something like that, of these targets that you had to get, but I thought you could maybe get them in any order you wanted, like they would just be spread out across whatever the map was. But they said in this missions, they said you could use them, you could change your loadout between missions. So that makes me think that this may be mission based, and that kind of takes a huge appeal out of this game away from what I wanted. The game itself looks great. We spoke about it saying it looked very Dishonored-like with obviously some of the powers.
Oh my god, yeah, it's could easily be a Dishonored game.
Yeah, which isn't a bad thing. It's not to slate the game. It just means that it's going to be a familiar thing. But yeah, no, the game looks okay. It looks good, but I'm hoping that maybe that was just some weird wording. Because I really don't want this to be a mission-based game, because I think that'll take away a huge amount from the game.
How can we be 27 trailers in on this game and still asking questions about this?
Yeah, it's
you know what I mean? Like, they've shown us so much,
and this was the deep dive.
Yeah, this was a deep dive of gameplay. Vince, are you the same on this, or are you feeling a little bit more hotter on
It's one of those things where, kind of like with Cyberpunk, where I've seen too much of it. I know, I mean, they said it was a deep dive, but I think like the first minute or two of the deep dive, they were telling us stuff we already knew about the game. So was it really a deep dive, or did we just see longer bits from the trailer this time?
So no, it's always the same bits.
Yeah. One of the things was,
it's always, have we seen any other level like in that much detail?
Briefly saw a little bit, but it's mainly this level that they keep showing.
Which has me worried, because
maybe that's the only level they've made.
Right.
Maybe.
Like,
they haven't got long for this game to come out.
Yeah. The game's been delayed and delayed and delayed. So I wonder if it did start off as, hey, this is open world, ever evolving. You have 8 targets, go kill the 8 targets. To now this like mission based style game, which okay, we'll see what it does. Kind of a shame we're getting this instead of Dishonored 3 because it looks very Dishonored. But hey, if it's good, it's good. I hope it reviews well, and I hope that this is a standout for the PlayStation 5, being maybe one of the last, Bethesda games coming to a PlayStation console. Hopefully not, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm gonna wait on this and see what other people are saying about this game before I pick it up myself.
Yeah, I know we joke every single time like they're going to show something because oh my god, we've seen so much of it. But every time they do show gameplay, I do think this actually does it really fun. Like this actually does it really good. It's a new IP. I like the style they're going for with this rather than obviously. Different to Dishonored, going for this kind of like pulpy, grindhousey, like 70s kind of look, and I love that kind of stuff. I'm a sucker for that kind of thing. And the game, the gameplay looks like I'm talking about the moment to moment gameplay. Actually, looks fantastic. But yeah, I'm with you guys in that. Okay, what does the whole thing look at? How is it really more kind of freedom, or is it more linear, mission based? I don't know, but. I don't think I'd be like rushing out the doors to get this out on release, but it's something that I'm kind of keen. I think we're all in the same boat. It's kind of like let's just kind of watch this space and see how it goes. But I have a theory that they keep delaying it because they have to keep making time to cut in more trailers. So that's why
keep making trailers. Yeah,
we've got to delay it another few months because we've got to make a new trailer for it. So
it's not even a game anymore. It's just a series of trailers.
Yeah. Is it even a real thing?
Right?
20 hours worth of trailers.
This is a Kojima experiment gone wrong.
Yeah.
I think this game has, and I want to be wrong on this to put as parentheses, has got mixed reviews written all over it. I think this is going to be a bit of a Marmite game. People either really love it. Yeah, this is a 7. It's going to fluctuate between 6 and 8. I think, it's going to be, all the reviews are kind of going to be in there. I don't think we've seen anything in this game so far that makes me think this is going to add anything groundbreaking. I think it's a safe game, heavily relying on Dishonored, which is absolutely fine. Is it Juliana?
Juliana.
Let's see how that plays out, because all we ever see of her is at the end of a trailer shooting him in the head. Like, how much is she going to hunt you in the levels?
They said a bit on in the trailer. There's a music cue, and it's usually somebody invading your game, or it's an AI. Which, as a Souls player, and if you play online and you play in Souls games, you do have those instances where people can invade your game. Like when I was playing Dark Souls 2, it happened to me one time, and only one time. And that's usually like a, well, fuck me moment, because you kind of know you're going to die, because generally it's people who are just looking for that fight. And it usually turns out bad for people. So I wonder if this is going to be a game where you have 8 targets you need to kill. How annoying is that going to be to maybe kill a target? Oh, now you're dead because you were hunted by another player, and now you have to go re-kill however many targets you killed the last 2 times. So I wonder how this game handles its story that way.
Yeah,
like are they going to be like quick kills, or is it going to save? I don't know. If it's now mission based, is it now going to carry progress from your kills? Because you wouldn't think so, because every time you die, it resets. How does this game work in the long run?
Yeah, I agree. And then the other question to come from it as well is, if you kill her, or is that her for the game if you don't die again? because you're in
Yeah.
the same loop.
Mhm.
So she shouldn't be able to come back. So if you kill her and then
Right.
don't die, is that? Like,
Yeah.
you get someone who doesn't really know the game, maybe they jump in, you get a kill early on, and that mechanic is then done for the game. Because if they
Right.
respawn her as someone else dropping in, that takes the whole concept of the game away.
It does. And also, if say you go to try to like invade somebody, does your like upgrades and weapons carry over, or are you starting with something else?
I guess you'll start with a skeleton, won't you? You'll start with what they would start with, maybe. It's a
I don't know.
It's a weird one, and it's always difficult to have a character which is obviously so heavily involved in the story, because that's who you're talking to the whole time.
Yeah,
be able to be
that's why I
played
was
in
like,
different ways. Like if an AI comes in,
Mhm.
they're going to be playing very differently to the. Sorry, if a player comes in, they're going to be playing very differently to the AI. And how is that going to affect the story? And then if you kill her straight away, is that the end of her story arc? I don't.
Right. I don't know.
This is what we're saying. You're right, Terry. We have more questions now than answers. We still
How is
don't
that
know
even
how
possible?
the
I
hell
know.
this works.
Right.
Crazy.
And the game comes out in like what, 4 months?
September. So like 3 months, something like that. 2 months.
2 months, yeah. And now we just had a deep dive and we still have all these questions about how the game actually works.
Do you
And
know
we
what
should
we
know
need?
a little bit more. Yeah.
Do you know what we need, guys? Another trailer. Like,
We need another trailer.
Let's
Just
have
to
another
clear things
trailer.
up.
Just to clear things up.
Yeah.
But,
We need the Juliana trailer. There we go.
Yeah.
I've named it for you. Arcane Studios put it out. We know it's already
do
made.
a PSX. Let's have let's have an hour-long Deathloop trailer.
But speaking about games that we didn't know much about before releasing, nice little segue there.
Segue.
Death Stranding
I see you
Director's Cut. We got another trailer for that. I haven't played Death Stranding. I know you guys have had some experience with it. So
No, I have not.
Oh, you not as
I've
well?
not played it yet.
Just Adam. Adam, what was in that was exciting that we hadn't seen before? Like, what's
exciting?
Yeah, nothing.
None
No,
of
okay.
But
what's different?
Kojima, all of it. This is the director's cut, and that's not great with Kojima because Kojima doesn't cut much. He usually puts everything in there. So for it to be cut is a worry. And we can see why, because now we have robots doing the can while carrying boxes, and now there's Formula One added to it as well, and and jumps, and like it's ridiculous. This game was already far-fetched. Obviously, it's a Kojima game, and it's
this is
never
Kojima
mind the sci-fi
Unleashed,
element.
right? He's got no one holding him back.
If there's one game director who should not have their cut of their game, it's Kojima, because his games are already batshit crazy, and that's with him honing it in. Like now we've got speed jumps. It's like it's.
I don't know.
Don't get me wrong. I think all of these things will make the game better because it adds an element of something else to do, but they're not needed. You could very much play the standard version of this game and have as equally good experience because the game is the premise and everything like that is the important thing in this game. This is just kind of stuff to do on your way, and I think some of it is a bit of a life service, like quality of life service, like giving you so you can carry more packages and stuff like that. All that really helps because it is a chore at times to move some of those packages. So
never a pleasure, always a chore.
There you go.
But it did say like it flashed by for like a couple seconds. New story missions. So does that mean extra content story wise? They didn't really elaborate on it. They just spent time with the weird stuff.
Yeah, the way the game works is, in its principal way, is you get basically like an Amazon driver, or you get an update saying we need to take this from here to here, and you can go to a computer terminal and choose a job basically. And there's the main story missions that are in there as well. So I'm guessing it's going to add more of those side missions that were, some of them are quite expanded side missions. Some of them were absolute batshit nonsense, like Conan O'Brien appearing in the game.
What? I remember that now. Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff Keighley obviously appears in the game. Yeah, I think there's a few more. I can't remember. But
Kojima in the game as well. He's always in his games. Yeah.
Yeah. He appears in a few games. He appears in Metal Gear Solid 5, and you can have him.
Del Toro just being in it just seems normal now. It's just that one. That was just like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, there's a lot. This game is one of them that you know what's going on, but you don't know what's going on. So Kojima expects you to work it out. So yeah, the missions, maybe it delves into some of the side bits a little bit more, which would be cool. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't finish this game. Like, it was long, like, and it came out around a lot of other games as well. I did not have the time then, and now I'm having a child. I do not have the time now.
Yeah. So, you wait until how little time you will have, Adam.
I know.
But moving on to some of the other stuff that we saw, we got some more footage of Sifu. Which we are all fans of. It just looks so fun. That game.
That game looks good. I do like the way they delayed it. Good. Like you said, Tony, it was a very cool way of.
If you're going to delay a game, do it in style.
Yeah. And that game has style.
Yeah.
You know what it reminds me of? Like, fighting style wise, it has that John Wick-esque.
Oh, absolutely.
To it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, everything is done for an absolute reason. There's no flamboyancy to it. It is just bam, done, you're down. Like, and I really like that.
Yeah.
It has that badass feel to it.
It does.
Yeah, I get with the combat. I get that kind of get the Arkham kind of vibes of it, and the way you kind of bouncing off of enemies. But like you say, in much more style, and the way that the character ages every time you die, it's just very cool.
Yeah,
cool idea.
Very good concept.
Yeah.
Do you think this game is a linear game, as in there's a start point and a finish point, or do you think this is a roguelike style game?
Good question.
I don't think we've had that answered. I see it as a linear story, but there is an element that this could be.
Yeah, because it seems quite similar to like is it like Rogue Legacy that does that, where it's like when you die in Rogue Legacy, you kind of become like that person dies, and then it's like their son.
You learn from it. Yeah.
Is it like that? Yeah. So it's like that kind of thing going on, and obviously that's a roguelike. So yeah, I could see it being that way. Definitely.
The aging thing is interesting
because there has to be a maximum. Like, you're going to be like
it 1,000 years several years.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I saw a Twitter post. Don't remember who it was from. Probably from the game or one of the developers, where they were playing as a female. So I'm wondering if we're getting different characters or character select or like something like that.
We might be just seeing like a standard template, but you could be any.
Maybe there is a character selection and you just age. Because I think the original trailer, it was an older person, wasn't it?
Well, I assume that's like the male character that has aged.
Yeah.
Or you think it might just be you pick if you're male or female in this?
Might be, or you might customize a little bit how they look like, but
like if you age out, maybe another character comes in. Maybe we get an assortment of characters if you age out.
Because we don't know the story yet, do we? I don't think they mentioned the story's been mentioned much, have they? They've just shown incredible combat, which is enough.
Yeah,
like
for sure. That sold me on that game several times over now.
Just tell me I'm avenging my family, send me on my way to kick everyone's ass in front of me. Or kill a puppy in the first 10 minutes and just go all John Wick on this. Like, there we go.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
I guess I'm back.
What a good set of movies.
We saw some more of. Sorry, go on.
Sorry, John Wick 4. Like the cast that they're acquiring for John Wick 4 is ridiculous.
I've still not seen 3 yet. I'm ashamed of myself.
You need to watch 3.
You need to watch 3.
You need to watch 3. That ends with a whole lot of questions.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
many questions, but so good.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, back to games.
Anyway, yeah.
We saw some more of Jet the Far Shore, which I am really digging. I'm all about this. It's got, those No Man's Sky vibes, but also this kind of like, I don't know, this like calm, isolated planet, just exploring, and then also some weird stuff going on as well, like narrative wise. I just love everything about this. But you guys of interest at all, or?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to giving this a go. What I don't like is what's the word for it? The color scheme that they've used seems very murky.
Yeah, it's very muted.
It's a very muted colors. And I think when you're doing the exploration, I'd rather have a little bit more vibrancy to it. But that is nitpicking. The rest of it looked really cool. I feel like the whole game, if you get into trouble, your whole point is to escape it. So I don't think there's any sort of combat to it. So it's an interesting take on the game. Yeah.
See, I like the muted. I like the muted colors. I like. It reminds me of like I'm getting like Alien vibes from it, like how all the Alien trilogy have that certain palette to them, and they're just you never see like a bright sunny day. It's always kind of stormy or like. You know what I mean? It's always a little bit dark, a little bit grey.
To it, I guess.
Yeah, that kind of thing. It's and I definitely got that vibe as well when they're all sitting around the table, which reminded me of
the Alien,
when they're sitting around when they're all eating around the table. But yeah, that's on the front cover of this month's Edge, and there's a whole feature in there about that. And I haven't read it yet, but I'm looking forward to finding out more about that. But yeah, Vince, can you see yourself playing that at all?
Probably not. It's something I might give a pass. Like the, ship stuff looks interesting. Like I like that. I don't even want to say illusion of speed it gives you, because it definitely looks like the traversal while in the ship looks incredible. It when like you get out and you're walking, like I'm assuming those are like story beats.
I imagine
potentially, yeah. But I don't know. This might be a pass for me, just because, again, I didn't learn a whole lot about the game from this.
No.
Maybe that, article you have on, I might check that out and see if it's maybe for me, but I don't know. It doesn't look like a Vince-style game.
No.
Was this an exclusive?
I don't know. I don't know if I made it up. I'm sure this is coming to, like, phones as well.
Really?
But I don't know. Yeah, because I do think, and I might be making this up, I do think the majority of the gameplay is in the ship, and it is a very much like a kind of flow kind of game where you just kind of chill out and you're just kind of. I imagine it's quite easy to control. It's just you're just kind of going with it. But because when I first saw footage of it, that's all we saw. It was just that, and I just thought, that's what it is. You're just kind of just moving the ship around, very kind of simple game, just kind of chill out game. Didn't know it was going to have all this extra stuff into it, but I'm sure it's coming to.
Okay, so according to their website, jet.fyi, Jet the Far Shore is fixing to deploy to PlayStation and PC in 2021. And they have the Epic Game Store logo on there, so I assume via Epic Game Store.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Also, we got Moss Book 2 announced for PSVR, which, whoever I know, anyone that's played Moss on the PSVR, everyone like raves about. I think it's very short. It was like one of the very early PSVR games, but everyone says that's like a must play. So it's cool to see that.
Oh yeah, I mean, I haven't played it myself, but I've seen, videos of people playing it. It looks very good. And one of the great things about this game is that, what's her name, Quill, communicates to the player via sign language.
That's cool.
That's a really awesome detail that they had in the game that I'm sure they brought over to book 2.
Yeah, that is really cool.
I just wish I had a VR to actually play the game for myself, because this also looks very good.
Same, yeah.
Yeah.
And they also announced Arcadegon.
Arcade a Decade.
Arcade again.
Okay.
Arcade again.
That is
Yeah.
the worst title ever. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
That is just horrible to say. But yeah, I mean, it looks like, I feel like one of these games kind of gets released like every month, but it could find an audience. It could just be dead in a few months. But I quite liked the moment to moment gameplay of this. Looked quite cool. Like the gunplay and stuff. It had, like you guys said, Fortnite-y vibes.
Very.
But
like,
a lot more kind of visceral.
Being a little bit critical on it, from like the art style itself to the floating numbers doing damage, very Fortnite. The use of the bat, which didn't look like they were like mining anything for whatever, but it looked like you'd actually hit people and like knock the shit out of them across the map, which that's cool. But again, kind of Fortnite looking. I don't know. We'll see though.
Yeah, very bright game, look very colourful. Definitely, obviously, in the style of Fortnite. But the gameplay, like you said, the gun mechanics, shooting mechanics seemed pretty cool and fluid. So it's a game that I think it's a game that I'll try. I don't think it's a game that I will like necessarily, but it's definitely something that I could try. Just to go back to Sifu, sorry, because they've put up a Twitter post which links to the PlayStation blog. They've done a more in-depth thing. I've just got a bit of information on what the game actually is. So to answer some of our questions. So I'm reading partway down on the PlayStation blog for this one. Who wrote this? From Felix. I am not going to try and pronounce that surname, but it's the
Give it a go. Give it a go.
No clue.
Garchnitsky. Garchnitsky. No, it's the community manager for Slow Clap. First of all, they go on to say that they didn't want to crunch on the game and stuff like that. That's why it's going to be released early, and they apologize. About the game, it says, it's just a few paragraphs. In today's State of Play trailer, we wanted to give you a short glimpse of our aging mechanic in an all-new environment. Starting in a nightclub, our main character will soon find themselves in an underground fight club and will have to prevail through combat in order to reach their target. The progressive and subtle evolution of your surroundings as you get deeper into the hideouts of your enemies is a strong theme throughout the game. Kung Fu is the mastery that comes from a life of training and practice, and the aging mechanic and death are also central to this trailer. In Sifu, the concept inspires both the main character's drive and philosophy, and we want to make it part of the gameplay experience itself. Players can make mistakes, try again, and learn in the process. We want to make that experience smooth and fluid. Players will be able to restart instantaneously when they died and keep going like an unstoppable force of revenge. You cannot age eternally, however. Eventually you'll become too old and have to start your path again. You don't get weaker as you age. On the contrary, like an old masters of classic Kung Fu movies, as the main character becomes older, they'll have more experience, skills, and knowledge to apply to the fight. Like a true Kung Fu student, to reach your objective, you'll have to improve through practice and perseverance. And then they go on to apologize again for the delay. And they're very confident they'll get out in the first months of 2022, and they're going to have a more locked-in date later on this year.
Nice.
Okay.
Very nice
Just
indeed.
To clear up that game, it's not a roguelike.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. I don't think there was anything like, there was a couple of other things. Was there anything I've missed like stand out for you guys?
No,
that was it.
What was that
I don't think so.
Battle Royale they announced?
Oh, what was the sideways one with the rabbit?
Oh, yes, Fists or something, was it?
Fist.
That looked good. I'm
That had you written all over it, Terry.
Yeah, I did like the look of that. I mean, it was like, it was obviously side scrolling, but it was very much like Unreal Engine visually. But there was some, it just looked cool. It looked like steampunky, just something a little bit different. Liked it.
Yeah.
I'll be keeping my eye on that. Do we know who developed that? Who that was? I don't remember.
No.
It's a very kind of quick trailer.
I'm on IGN site looking at everything announced at the State of Play, but they don't list a developer under Fist Forged in Shadow Torch.
Forged in Mount Doom and the Shadows of Mordor.
A 2D Metroidvania starring a rabbit.
Always
Okay.
Metroidvania. Okay.
Mhm. First revealed back in 2020 for the PlayStation 4. I don't remember that at all.
No.
I feel like I would remember a rabbit with a giant robot arm. All right.
It was probably part of like one of those like really quick indie compilation parts in like one of their conferences. Like, oh, Link, can you miss it?
We got obviously Lost Judgment. Free next gen upgrade for both PlayStation 5 and Xbox. Interesting.
That's for,
Coming off the back of Lost Judgment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. You know what?
Yeah, and that looked good.
That definitely looked good. I mean, the graphics alone looked incredible. And I love the fact that it absolutely looked like a Yakuza game.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited.
No, it did look good.
Yeah.
So I was just reading through more of the PlayStation blog, and then you know when like a link appears at the bottom and you click on it.
Yeah.
Has anyone seen the board game? Obviously, quite relevant at the moment. Pandemic. It's obviously a well-known.
I know
board
of
game.
Pandemic.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Do you know the partnership that they've just signed with about the version of the game they're making?
No.
No. It is World of Warcraft.
What? What? World of Warcraft
pandemic game. Yeah.
How would that work then?
Why not?
Like that, they're clutching.
Yeah. What the hell?
For sure.
That game must have had a huge rise in sales over the last 2 years.
Yeah. I mean, that's a huge game anyway, isn't it? I mean, that's like one of the most popular tabletop games. Okay.
Anyway, sorry to derail it.
No, it's fine.
I thought I had to share that important information.
But I think that, that pretty much, I don't know about you guys, but I had literally zero expectations for this. I thought it was what they said it was going to be. It's going to be a Deathloop thing, and if there was anything else in there, great. And there's a couple of things sprinkled in. So, I see people going like, "Oh, we're going to get Final Fantasy 16." Not a chance in hell. Just stop doing this to yourselves. Just don't do it.
Just enjoy it.
Yeah.
I mean, we just came off the back of a lackluster E3 where we didn't get a whiff of Sony. And then they said at the beginning of the State of Play, focus specifically on Deathloop and other indie titles.
Yeah.
And then people just lost their minds because they read the word Sony State of Play. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
We weren't getting nothing big. We knew we weren't.
No, it was one of them, innit?
Mm-hmm.
I think what Sony does very well with these, especially now, is they're always great, well paced.
Yeah.
Right, they're always well paced, and two, they curb expectations. They tell you what's going to be there.
We'll tell you the highlight of it.
Yeah, but they were right. They said there'll be some indie games, a few of our third party games. Deathloop. Like they're not here going, guys, you don't want to miss this. Shit is about to get real.
No, yeah, that's it.
Like,
I'm glad they did the fact that they said like this is basically a Deathloop presentation with a couple of third party, like that completely set my expectation. If they had said nothing at all, my mind would have been racing. I would have been like, okay, what are they going to show here?
Right.
So
I mean, especially since it was just announced a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Like, don't get your hopes up that much when it was announced a few days prior to this thing actually airing.
Yeah.
But that is the PlayStation thing to do anyway. They never give you notice.
Yeah, that's true.
That one is a bit of a that's just PlayStation being PlayStation.
Anyway,
that's true.
Enough PlayStation.
Speaking of companies being companies.
Yeah, speaking of just companies being absurd sometimes.
Yeah.
Nintendo reveals upgraded OLED Switch, which is due out in October. And this story is over at Eurogamer by Tom Phillips. Surprise or not, Nintendo has at last unveiled its upgraded Switch model, which is due to launch on 8th of October alongside Metroid Dread. It has a 7-inch OLED screen, 74 gigabytes of internal storage, a wide adjustable stand, plus improved speakers. There's a new dock too, with a wired LAN port, white and neon red blue colors will be available. Officially, it's called the Nintendo Switch OLED model, of course, console. In the US, it costs $350. In the UK, it's $309.99. And pre-orders are available now.
Let's click on that link and see if pre-orders are still available. That did not.
No.
Just a minute.
The screen.
Why is it taking me deeper into the website? Okay, hang on.
The screen remains at
Keep going.
1280 by 720 resolution, though is now 7 inches, up from the base Switch model's 6.2 inches. Battery life remains listed at 4.5 to 9 hours, depending on usage, the same as the base Switch. In terms of size, the new model measures 102 millimeters by 242 millimeters by 13.9 millimeters with Joy-Con attached, compared to the ever so slightly thinner 102 millimeters, 239 millimeters, 13.9 millimeters original version. Finally, the OLED model weighs in at 320 grams or 420 grams with Joy-Con attached. That compares to the 297 grams or 398 grams with Joy-Con attached for the original Switch model. It's a little bit heavier there. Yeah, so what did you guys think of that? Obviously, with the rumors we've been talking about since we've been doing Newsbreak and this 4K Switch coming, I want to hear your thoughts.
You don't.
Vince,
Also,
you wanna go first on this?
update. You cannot pre-order it anywhere. It's all sold out. Surprise. Everyone knew this was coming. But yeah, I knew it was not great when this was announced via a tweet and a YouTube video for the launch trailer. I mean, I'm going to be honest, the new dock looks very next gen. Like it's going to sit beside your PS5 and look sweet and amazing. Other than that, a 720p 7-inch OLED screen is okay. Like, we're still stuck in 720p. Cool. I didn't think we were going to get much of an upgrade, but hey, OLED's OLED and it's going to look better. I do like the new base on it. That new, like, extendable stand it has. That looks cool. Like, it's better than that shitty little flap of plastic that's supposed to be the stand now. And I do like it in white. That actually looks pretty cool. Not gonna lie. That's being nice. Being mean, like, come on. This was what people were hyping up for, what, months? Even before, like, the Nintendo Direct we had at E3, we had, like,
But again,
Jason Schreier.
Whose fault was this, Vince? Whose fault was this?
Well, here's the problem. It's fucking reporters on here being like, yeah, Nintendo's going to announce like a new system in June, July. We don't know. They're going to announce a new system. We heard it's supposed to be awesome. And that got everybody hyped up. And then E3 fell through. And now we have this now $50 more, slightly better version of the Switch. Come on. You got people's hopes up. And then this is what we get. And it's mildly disappointing. But hey, Terry, if you don't have a Switch, this thing's perfect. Good luck getting your hands on it, though.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is obviously initially people are pre-ordering it. There's going to be a big, a lot of people trying to get it. But over time, I think this is obviously just going to, I imagine, just end up replacing the last Switch. It's going to be the new standard, maybe. I don't know. Adam, what were your thoughts on this?
Well, a lot of what Vince said is the same. If you're going to buy a Switch and you are going to dock it, mainly, buy the old one. If you're going to play handheld predominantly, buy the new one. Like it's a better screen, it's bigger. Like that's it really. That I think that, and a few people have said this online. This isn't anything new. That people have got confused, and maybe there is something down the line, and they've kind of amalgamated the two stories together. They've heard bits, put it together, and said this is what it's going to be, and they're not ready for whatever the Switch 2 will be, or the next version of Switch, which obviously probably won't be a Switch Pro now. That'll be whatever their next thing is, which will likely be the next iteration of what is the Switch. This is very Nintendo doing Nintendo things. Like, yeah, I'm not bothered. I'm not going to upgrade. I've got my Switch. I like the color scheme. That's one thing I do like. Did not like the trailer. Thought it was very poorly done. And this ain't for me. But if you're going to play handheld, buy this.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what's happened here. I remember when we first had rumors about this Switch, this new Switch Pro. And I think you remember something like, there's no way it's going to happen this year, because why the hell? But again, Nintendo does what Nintendo does. But why the hell would they do that when the Switch is just selling just ridiculous? Like, anyway, why change that? Why change that? Yep. And I guess that's exactly what they're thinking. Like, and I do think that maybe all these rumors, and I do believe that everyone being disappointed is their own fault, because it's just Nintendo had nothing to do with that. Nintendo never promised anything.
Yeah.
Obviously, as you said, Vince, like some reporters, and they may be true. They may have found a leak from something that is coming further down the line. It may be this Switch Pro, but that wasn't this. And this is just generally that's something that happens in any console's life cycle. And yeah, I mean, it seems like the right thing to do. And yeah, so repeating what Adam was saying, I think when the Switch is released, it very much, obviously, the reason they called it the Switch is very much this thing like, oh, you can go from playing it portable to playing it on the TV. But maybe they didn't realize just how much it was going to be used as a portable. I think something like, I think the stats are something like 90% of people use it as a portable machine.
I very rarely dock mine.
Yeah, and pretty much everyone says, like, you know, obviously there's a few people, but everyone says that. And so with that in mind, they probably thought, well, okay, if everyone's doing that, then let's bring out a new version and make a better quality screen, you know. And I can vouch for OLED as a Vita player, because my God, the screen on the Vita is still a thing of beauty. And PlayStation actually did it the other way around, where a few years down the line, they released a version with just an LCD screen to make it cheaper. And if you have an LCD version of the Vita, well done on having a Vita, but that's very unfortunate for you. Because the true Vita is the OG launch Vita, which is just
that's still, like buying one shoe instead of two.
Yeah, it's just a thing of beauty. It just feels weightier. It's just a lovely product to have, you know. But anyway, going off the point. The point is, if I'm buying a Switch, 100%, I'm going to get this one. You know, bigger screen, OLED. Come on, you kidding me? I'm all for OLED. Like, you know, so yeah, great. And I think we'll leave the Switch Pro, whatever that's going to be, further down the line, and just wait till the time is right. Because obviously, as we can see, pre-orders are already gone. Demand's there. Everyone's like, oh, this is ridiculous. Where do I pay? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah. But
everybody wants to complain, but guess what? It's sold out.
But I've got to say, the most Nintendo thing about it, the Nintendo Switch OLED model.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just
good old Nintendo.
You can't make it up.
Right off your tongue.
You can't
Absolutely.
Make it up. You can't make it up.
Feel bad for the parents and grandparents and walk into a shop and like, I want a Nintendo Switch. Like, okay, we have the Switch Lite, and the Switch OLED model. Like, cool.
I want the one with Mario.
Yeah.
I'll screw it. I'll get the Xbox. I'll get the Xbox. Yeah.
Anyway. The X, the S, the One, the 360,
the 1S, the 1X.
Yeah. Jesus Christ, what a minefield. Yeah. Speaking of minefields,
Okay, this is tenuous.
Assassin's Creed Assassin's Creed Infinity will turn the series into a live service game with multiple historical settings.
Adam has some thoughts about this.
Yeah, this is a PC gamer by Molly Taylor. As if Assassin's Creed games weren't already a bottomless pit of stuff to do, Ubisoft now wants to literally make a never-ending entry in the series. The aptly codenamed Assassin's Creed Infinity is set to be a live service game that will evolve and expand over time, according to a new report from Bloomberg. Instead of it being one isolated look into a historical period, Infinity is instead looking to stitch different settings together with the room to expand and develop each one post-launch. Bloomberg says Ubisoft has been inspired by longevity of games like Fortnite and Grand Theft Auto 5, which continue to make epic games and Rockstar a stupid amount of money. While Ubisoft Montreal and Ubisoft Quebec usually take in turns to develop each iteration of Assassin's Creed, Infinity will be a joint effort between the two divisions, with Quebec's Marc Alexis Cote taking charge overall. Each studio will still have its own creative director, with Jonathan Dumont heading up the role for Ubisoft Quebec and Clint Hocking for Ubisoft Montreal. Bloomberg speculates that the two studios occasionally bitter rivalry may see some future bumps in the road. Following the report, Ubisoft posted a separate blog post confirming that the game is in development, along with providing a bit of additional context. The studio echoed Bloomberg's report that the game is still in very early stages of development and delved into the decision to combine the efforts of Quebec and Montreal. Rather than continuing to pass the baton from game to game, we profoundly believe this is an opportunity for one of Ubisoft's most beloved franchises to evolve in a more integrated and collaborative manner that's less centered on studios and more focused on talent and leadership, no matter where they are within Ubisoft. Something which Ubisoft fails to acknowledge Something which Ubisoft fails to acknowledge in its post is the fact that the reorganization continues to leave many of the people accused of harassment last year in charge. Quote, several men accused of abuse remain in lead roles after this reorg, which led to complaints on the internal forums, reporter Jason Schreier tweeted. Quote, a Ubisoft spokeswoman says they had their case rigorously reviewed by a third party and were either exonerated or underwent appropriate disciplinary actions. Despite Ubisoft repeatedly insisting that everything is okay now, nobody is really convinced. Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot said earlier this year that Guillemot, that sounds right, Vince. Yeah. That the company had created a clearer, more comprehensive, and more actionable code of conduct to aid in reporting harassment and abuse, but with employees still saying nothing has changed in the last year, and Schreier's latest claims Ubisoft aren't out of hot water yet. So
boy, are they not.
A lot to kind of break down there, but Vince,
yeah,
how do you feel about Assassin's Creed being a live service game?
Stop it. Stop development right now. Cancel the whole game. Start over. Don't do this. Do not do this to Assassin's Creed. The action RPG elements, okay, that fine. I only played Origins and a little bit of Odyssey. That's good enough. That don't do this. Just don't do this. We don't need another live service game. We've had so many people try this and fail. We had Anthem. We had Marvel's Avengers.
But look at GTA 5. Look at GTA 5. It is making money.
Yeah, but it's not a live service game. It's a purely multiplayer game with a single player tacked on that people played and then moved to multiplayer. But nobody talks about the single player in GTA 5 for some reason, even though it was good. But they make money by selling fake money so people can buy things that are purely cosmetic. Like vehicles and other things. It's not how they want it to be. Like they also tried a co-op version in Unity, the worst Assassin's Creed game, and that's just it didn't work how they wanted it to. They tried multiplayer in previous games by itself. That didn't take off. Why are we trying this? Why are we doing a live service game in Assassin's Creed? Yes, they introduced the loot mechanics as part of their action RPG elements. Does that translate well to a multiplayer experience? Maybe not. Is it Assassin's Creed if you're playing a live service game? Probably not. How does that even work to begin with? I don't think it does. Like, you should have saved this for something like Watch Dogs, or keep trying to do The Division, because that makes sense. It doesn't make sense in Assassin's Creed when you have different historical settings and you have different ways to go about missions. Like, you have different arcs for your characters. This is a bad idea.
What does this say?
Very bad idea.
What does this say about this series? That the fact that they can turn all these different games from that franchise into just one kind of live service. Like, does that not say enough that they are literally all the same game? You know what I mean? Like it's almost like they've pulled a U-turn. Like they've pulled their head, like, on what they were going down this route before, when they were almost like releasing yearly, and then all of a sudden the quality started to drop, and they were like, well, okay, we're gonna back off a bit and then do one, like, was it like every other year or something like that? I can't remember what they were even doing. Yeah, and now it's almost like they're going back on that again. It's like, no, let's actually just keep pumping shit out, like, and just trying to get more money out of it.
Keep adding on content to a game, which I would assume, with their different historical settings and then wanting to be a live service game, it's going to be like a season pass thing.
Yeah.
Like you bought, battle pass, whatever. It's probably the better way to phrase it, where you pay per pass and you get different regions, different characters or something. I just, my mind is trying to wrap my head around, like, how this can work in something like this, because obviously they kind of set it up in the lore itself. The Animus lets you go back in time through your ancestors and visit different periods in time that way. But you make that a game in and of itself. You don't make it a live service game. You make it a single player game where you can probably do that. I mean, they did it with that was the main story of the first few games. Like, it was Desmond going back to Altair, to Ezio, to Connor. That was a self-contained story arc. That makes more sense. You don't put that all in one game and expect it to work.
No.
I don't know, man. This is stupid, and I hate it, and I probably will not play this game. This might draw the line on Assassin's Creed for me.
Adam looks,
being an Assassin's Creed fan,
like visually just like pissed off with the whole situation. So I know he's got a lot to say about this.
Oh yeah, a lot of it is tied in with what Vince said, but I will strap in, guys. Right, I knew we were going to talk about this on the news, so I've thought about it and written notes about my feelings on this, because there's a lot to get. There's a lot to get out.
Scroll.
I'm not joking. There's notes.
We've got notes.
First of all, terrible idea. We'll look at the basic concept of this, of Assassin's Creed is the story, for one, about that building of the character, learning the lore, especially as the games have gone on. There's been such a huge emphasis on the location, sometimes more than the character. So it was Egypt, then it was ancient Greece, and then it was England, and like with the Viking raids and stuff like that, and Norway, and it's they have become such important things that you could see that the characters, even though they were fleshed out, were becoming secondary things to the location. So you could see that they were already starting to play with the fact of going the locations, the important thing. Now, I disagree, and I think that Ezio, Altair, what's he called? Black Flag.
Edward.
Yeah. All of these are really important characters. They really drove the story on. If we look at this as a live service game, this is Ubisoft, so the microtransactions are going to be appalling because they already are appalling. Like in Assassin's Creed, they're appalling in Watch Dogs Legions. Like they're appalling in any Ubisoft game.
That there's always 3 different versions or 4 different versions of the game they put out,
like the legendary version, the ultimate version, the regular version, the pre-order version. There's and then there's stuff that they add on top of that. You look at we're going to get onto the management side of things in a minute. This game will be buggy as hell. Ubisoft do not release a game in a good state. They haven't done for a long time, and it's fixed with patches and patches and patches. If you're doing a live service game, you don't have that luxury as much, because that stuff's going to come out and it's going to be a mess. Ubisoft don't get games out in good ways. They're kind of comical for it. Like, it won't keep its player base. The reason that GTA keeps its player base is because of the way that the world works in GTA. Your apartments, your casino, your jobs, your money. There's a goal in itself of trying to make the most money possible and buy all the new cars and buy all the new, and they can do stuff like that. As in, you can now buy fucking submarines. Like, it's ridiculous. Your jets, like, and GTA is a world which suits multiplayer. I don't play the multiplayer. I will go and just play the single player and just drive around. I'm quite happy doing that in that game, but I know we've seen the behemoth that it is. But there are very few games that can emulate that. And that's not me just being a Rockstar fan. It's the truth. And Ubisoft, if you put them in an environment, it might be like, okay, we're now going to go to Asia, and then we're now going to go back to England. We're going to go back to ancient Greece. We're going to go wherever. You're not going to keep that player base because that's going to work for some people. So slowly that number, pretty quickly, that number is going to dwindle off. So I don't think it's a financially viable option either. And I said Assassin's Creed is a story-based game. It's a single-player story-based game. And that has worked for them for so long. And all this screams to me of is, A, they've run out of ideas. B, they're being greedy because they know they can make money without making a new game. They can condense their work into season passes or battle passes or whatever the fuck they call it, and they churn them out with mediocre updates, and once a year they'll just chuck a new area and say, go do what you're already doing in a new area, which you could say is what Assassin's Creed's been doing anyway every 2 years, but at least there's lore and story and characters and progression behind it that you can do at your own pace. Like, there'll be timed events and all of these things, which they already have in Assassin's Creed, and they're annoying as hell. Like, but then you look at the management side of things, and when they say that there's been disciplinary action against some of the management in place that have been accused of harassment, no, there hasn't. Disciplinary action, if someone is accused of harassment, is being fired. Like, if you're in a management position and abusing your power, you shouldn't be a manager. So the disciplinary action of a slap on the wrist just isn't good enough. And this is Ubisoft again showing how far behind they are with the way that the world, in most cases, is working now, saying, no, this isn't right. You held accountable for what you do. Like, and we see that in gaming where some companies come out and say, yep, our hands are up, we've done this wrong. That person leaves, they step down, and they move on. Whereas Ubisoft just don't do that. And then they make like stupid decisions. I just don't understand what's happening at Ubisoft at the moment. They've got they deal with Avatar, which is clearly a money grab.
For sure.
Watch Dogs Legions is an absolute mess of a game. Like, and they just don't know what to do with Watch Dogs. Like, Assassin's Creed was good this year, and the way they left the story at the end I thought was a really good way of continuing that story. Like, I ain't gonna play it if it's if this is what they're going with. I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested. That's the reason I dropped off Avengers. I don't want to grind. I just want to play the game. I don't want stuff behind level caps or money caps, like necessarily. Like, for me, and I know that's a lot just to throw out, and I think that's mostly everything. It's just a terrible idea, and Ubisoft are really starting to piss me off. And they were one of my favorite studios. It used to be if it's a Ubisoft game, I would buy it straight away because I liked what they were doing. And as the years have gone on, it's kind of like, okay, well, they still make the games that I like. Assassin's Creed is one of my favorite franchises of games. I love it. But I'm not interested in a live service game. No. This ain't just for me. And if that's what they want to do,
turning into like EA in the terms of like just becoming very corporate, just thinking of the
money,
the bottom line, and and it's annoying because like same thing like with EA, like they hold a lot of franchises that you hold close to your heart, and you think, well, I want to get them anyway, but like you just see them being mismanaged, and there's not a lot of originality there anymore with Ubisoft. Like if I said a Ubisoft game, you just have what in your mind what that is. If it's an open world Ubisoft game, you know what that is, don't you? Like you because they're normally developed in a certain way, they play in a certain way. I think it's very rarely something's come out of that studio like in the last like say 5 years where it's like, well, this is completely unlike anything else they've done. Unless I'm unless I'm thinking of
the last one, which wasn't 5 years ago, was even longer, was probably For Honor.
Yeah.
It was the last thing that they did that was totally different to anything they'd done. And that game wasn't fantastic for me, but it's still got a player base.
Yeah,
you look at Rainbow Six, that's the other one that they changed that around, but then you look at Breakpoint, which is basically just what was it, Badlands, Wildlands, just reskinned, basically. And they're getting lazier and lazier, and they need to be held accountable, really. And I think this is going to piss a lot of people off, as you've seen online. The thing that you see so much now with companies, and it's not just Ubisoft, this is you look at the two biggest games for like this sort of thing: GTA Online and Fortnite. So then Call of Duty step into the Fortnite realm of doing, okay, we're going to do Battle Royale. And then you had PUBG and everything, and Battle Royales became the shit. It was everywhere, and it still is. But then, like, you look at GTA Online and how many games try to replicate that sort of service. We're going to upgrade it continuously. It's your progression's going to be there. Like, there's another game that does it totally differently, but does it really well is Final Fantasy. Like, where it comes back and the way that they do it with these big expansion packs. But that's not a live service game. That's a big expansion pack and you're on your way. Ubisoft need to stop thinking that they can compete with a game like GTA Online, because no company can compete with GTA Online because it's such a flash in the pan. It hit at the right time. It hooked enough people that it keeps on churning. But that moment has passed. Not for GTA Online, because that keeps their fan base really well. But it's not what people want right now. And every game that's tried it, and Vince said this, has failed pretty much. Big titles like Marvel's gets ripped apart for what they're doing. Like, anyway.
All
I
the
don't
time.
like shitting on things, but this just annoys me. Like, it's a rant, and I apologize.
No, it's good. It's and I think from what I've seen online, it seems to be the majority of people feel that way, and I'm not surprised at all. So, I mean, if it is something that is early in planning and development. Maybe they can U-turn it because it seems like something they
won't.
need to do. No.
Yeah, well,
They're not looking at what
second
people are
time.
saying.
Yeah. It was like the second time in this episode where, like, I don't know how this game can work. Like, we had it with Deathloop, we have it now. Like, what's the idea behind it? How does this actually work? Or how do they think this is going to work? Because realistically, it's not. Like, I don't see this being successful, even with the Assassin's Creed name attached to it. Like, I don't know. This could
Because
be
how
Unity
can- how-
all over
yeah.
again. Yeah.
How can you have character progression if you're going to a new area? You can't
Right.
take, like, Edward, for example, and then take him to Damascus and do Assassin's Creed 1. You know, like,
No.
you can't, the weapons don't travel, the cultures don't travel, the people can't. Because you're becoming a new person. What, you join someone else at that level? Well, why would I do that?
Right.
It just
I'm like,
doesn't
even then,
make
like-
sense how this game would work.
Like, what's the
Unless
raid
it's
look
modern
like?
day.
Because it's a live service game. You have to have, like, raids and public events, right? Like, how does that shake
amazing.
out?
Yeah. First thing I do on Watch Dogs is turn off people being able to jump into my game. Stay the fuck out. Go play your own game. Like I don't like it. I don't want it. It's trust me, Deathloop, that is AI. I don't want people joining my game unless I'm playing multiplayer with my friends. Fuck off. Like, I don't know you. Get out of my game. Like, don't ruin my experience. Like, this isn't for me. If you really like it and people are really wanting this, then that's great. Enjoy it. But nah, not for me.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think anyone's asking for this. I don't know who sat down in a room and was like, I wish Assassin's Creed was a live service game. Like, I don't think anybody wants this. I mean, obviously, with the Twitter response, we're saying nobody wants this, but
Just Ubisoft.
just Ubisoft. Ubisoft want this.
They're currently now just going la 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 la. Like,
They're seeing Rockstar's bucks they're taking in, and they're
Greed.
thinking, let's just get some of that action.
it's greed and envy.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this is.
Yep.
Speaking of greed and envy,
You have to think about that
That's
one.
a good one. Yeah.
It's good, though.
Sony is charging devs at least $25,000 for PlayStation Store visibility. This story is over at Kotaku by John Walker.
The PlayStation Store is now just a live service game.
Yeah.
I won't go through this whole article because it's a long article, but in a furious tirade on Twitter, independent games publisher Ian Garner of Neon Doctrine has unleashed his frustrations with trying to publish games on a major games console, one he says that isn't made by Microsoft. During the spleen venting, he suggested that getting prominent promotion for a game from the platform holder requires spending at least $25,000. According to financial figures we've had verified by another source, if it's Sony he's talking about, which it most definitely is, that can reach as high as 200,000. Without naming either Sony or PlayStation, presumably allowing room for us to think he might mean the Atari VCS. British developer and publisher Garner details just how difficult he has found it to gain support, store presence, and even launch discounts when releasing games on the platform. I'm going to go just click on the link to the actual Twitter thread because I read this the other day and I just found it very interesting when he posted it. Okay, so this is Vaclain. Is that how you pronounce the name? Vaclain Garner? All right. Okay, I am mad enough to burn some bridges because honestly, what's the point of a bridge that I am not allowed to cross? So here is a thread about Platform X. I will not be defining Platform X, but it's the operator of a very successful console and does not have Game Pass. Platform X gives developers no ability to manage their games. In order to get promotion, you must jump through hoops, beg and plead for any level of promotion, and a blog is not as good as they think it is. If Platform X doesn't like your game, no fanfare, no feature, no love. There is nothing you can do to fix this. Wish lists have no effect, so all your personal marketing means nothing to Platform X. All that matters is their evaluation. How is their evaluation done? Dunno. They don't share that, nor will they share the value they ascribe to my game. So before you launch, you need to 1. Develop the game for Platform X. 2. Get through the incredibly difficult lot check spread over 3 generations of backend software. 3. Submit a Platform X specific trailer. 4. Write a Platform X blog, which 5. Submit multiple forms for social media. For 3 and 4, you need to go through an account manager. When asked how to get an account manager, we were told, quote, "I'm not sure, they are assigned by resources." As we know, there's no way to know what resource level you have been assigned. By the way, you cannot even do a launch discount without their approval, and it is very limited. That's right, you can't do the thing that every other platform does, meaning that Platform X owners will always get the worst deal. But don't worry, there is a way to guarantee you get featured. All you need to do is spend a very reasonable minimum of $25,000 to get featuring. And then 30% of your subsequent earnings. Bargain. Now, when your game is on the platform, likely without any support from Platform X, you may think, no problem, I can sync up discounts on Platform X with Steam and others. Wrong. Discounts are invite only, and invites are also very limited. It's been literal years since we could put a title of ours in discount, and I spoke to some other very popular devs today, and they had the same experience. So even if your game does well at launch and thrives on other platforms, you may still never be invited. Why? Who knows? In conclusion, Platform X is super successful and awesome hardware, but their backend and process is straight out of the early 2000s. I have no idea how to succeed on this platform, and they won't tell me. Even if I do succeed, they may screw me anyway. So for any gamers who have wandered in here, next time you're unhappy about your game never being discounted on Platform X, or a game you want not launching on Platform X, please go and complain to Platform X. I am going to walk my dogs and calm the fuck down. I may have more thoughts later. I hope not. And please bear in mind, I'm an English-speaking British guy who can travel the world, attend showcases, shake hands, and meet with power in these situations. If this is my experience, imagine what it's like for someone without my level of privilege. So, there's a lot to kind of think about right there. Platform X, Nintendo's going to Nintendo. What am I going to say?
I think it's Nintendo.
It's not Nintendo. Are you kidding me?
The thing the blog thing kind of points to Sony.
Yeah.
And Sony have been notorious for this. But the bit I don't understand with this is Sony have sales continuously. And on indie games, it's almost always in a sale. Sony always has 2 sales going on at once. And then there's usually, obviously, then there's the PlayStation Plus sale where you get your discount anyway, so on and so on. So I don't understand necessarily the discounted games because Games Pass is a great deal, obviously, blah, 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 we know. But I'm always okay with a lot of the Sony games because usually quite quickly they're discounted.
No, they do have a lot of sales on, but I think this is probably more looking at the real kind of smaller indie games, the ones that just get completely lost under the radar, obviously due to this fact.
But what I will say about the 25 grand is, and let's go back to it being Sony because we know it's Sony, but that's a fair number. Sony are the joint biggest console in the world. So their store gets the second most traffic on the game's console. For you to be featured on there, you're going to have to pay real estate because it is a real estate based thing. They're not going to give you a freebie and go, do you know what? Yeah, we're not going to put Call of Duty on there this week. We'll put your game on there for free. That's just not how business works. It sucks. I don't like it, but I bet you Xbox does exactly the same.
I bet they don't charge that much.
I bet they do. I don't think. Trust me, I think it'll be a lot easier on Xbox because they are better from that side of things, but I bet you they charge equally as much.
The thing that when I read this, I was not surprised at all. And obviously, yeah, if it's PlayStation, which it definitely is PlayStation.
Yeah.
I was not surprised at all because this is just the same kind of thing that we're kind of reiterating. And I think this is just down to, and you see similar things to Nintendo, which we always joke about Nintendo, the way they are with their certain things. And I think it may be like a Japanese thing in the fact that they have their own ways that they do things, their own business models, and they are with a lot of ways in which they work. They're very much in the past. Sony particularly, like I think ever since the Xbox came out, Sony have always been behind in way that they do things. You know, they're always a little bit behind, even going down to like when, you know, you could go from everything from like putting a hard drive in the console to releasing having obviously Xbox Live had their network, you know, proper functionality first. The store, like I remember with the Xbox 360, the way that, you know, they had an integrated proper store, and then the PS3's store was it was an actual browser. I don't know if you guys remember that back in the day. Like launch PS3, you actually clicked on it, went into like a web browser, and it was slow as fuck. It was so bad. And then just everything, yeah. And like I remember like the days when you couldn't even go to your cross media bar without exiting the game. You couldn't even go to your like friends and stuff. It was just like they were always playing catch up with stuff, and it's always like they always seem like doing things in a really roundabout way, like in a really like dated way. And like this guy basically mentioned like, yeah, they have fantastic hardware, fantastic games, but some of the way that they do things is like straight out the early 2000s. And it's a shame because we've spoke about on here before, like how well they support the kind of bigger third party companies they work with. You know, obviously we know like how good Shuhei has kind of managed that since the first PlayStation, how they look after studios. It's just a shame to hear how they don't really like the biggest thing for me. And I know what you're saying about the money, Adam, and I get that. You know, if whatever is, I don't know what the prices are from other platforms. It seems
I do have the Xbox one here.
Okay, what's that?
The Xbox charge, and this is as of 2014. So I expect these to have gone up a little bit, but they charge anywhere between $28.5 and $34.5 on a click per minute rate, which means that your minimum spend on an ad source is about $40,000, and the same, and then it can go up to $250,000. And during the holidays, you can look to be spending 50% more, and you could spend 50% more on, because they charge more for a holiday advertising. So Xbox now they may have changed their style and now be cheaper, but as of 2014, it was costing you $40,000, and this is from the Next Web, who do a lot of financial stuff for gaming. I haven't seen anything more recent. I was just having a look, but and this is a report from Penny Arcade.
Okay.
So I think, and Nintendo, I imagine, are equally, probably higher because it's Nintendo.
Yeah.
So I don't think those costs are the problem. I think the main problem with this is how difficult Sony are making it, as you were saying,
and no guidance. Like when they're saying, "Oh, we don't even know what the things are you have to do, the loopholes you have to go through." It's just completely. It's just kind of up in the air, and that's the thing I find ridiculous about it.
Put it into context, though. If we advertised on YouTube and we had a click per minute thing, and we had a decent amount of revenue coming through, so let's say we got 40,000 views on a video, and we had charged for that, like we'd be looking at about 25 grand that we'd have to pay in advertising if we'd gone down, if we hadn't been smart and done. If we ran an advertising campaign, obviously we can cap what we advertise at if we wanted to, so it would never cost us more than £50, and we might get 100 views, for example, if that's what we wanted to do. But if we left that uncapped, And let's say those people viewed our video for 2 seconds, makes no difference. If they've clicked on and that video starts playing, we get charged. So it's such a it does not surprise me, these prices at all.
No,
Like,
but
by
there
these
must be a
companies.
difference, because why would he be literally?
I think he's
just-
probably more frustrated about how hard it is to even get on there. And
maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is the same guy, but someone was disgruntled that his game was released on PlayStation and he couldn't find it
Yeah.
on the
But
day
a
it was
lot-
released. He
but-
couldn't see- yeah.
Going to the Kotaku article, like since that Twitter thread come out, loads of indie developers
it's
have come
quite
out
common.
saying the same thing, and literally just outward saying PlayStation, like, and not saying, oh, that's what he was talking about, even though it certainly is. But they were literally just like name dropping, like it was the PlayStation problem.
Because I think one of the perks of a company going onto Games Pass, because obviously if they go on Games Pass, they have a lower revenue income, because obviously they're not generating the money that way, is that they get the advertising for free. I don't think you have to advertise if you're on Games Pass, because it's advertised for you. So I think that's the perk of Xbox, if you can get onto Games Pass, which obviously so many games are below what X Pass will put on, but it's possible if you do a good game. And I think Microsoft have got this as an easier way of getting. Sony have been notoriously difficult with stuff like this, like jumping through hoops. Look how hard it is to transfer game files over as a consumer.
Yeah.
They don't do things easily.
No.
No, not at all. Not at all.
I still stand by it.
No.
I can't imagine Nintendo is any easier.
Oh no! Like, we know,
Like-
how,
I just think
Nintendo
this means
kind of
Xbox is a lot better.
exactly. And they said, like, with especially with Game Pass now, it must be so appealing to as an indie developer to kind of get on that platform and just kind of get on, like, you have a chance of being under everyone's noses without having to worry about those people having to worry about paying for the game. They can just give it a try.
It must be like the third easiest gaming platform behind Steam and Epic, like to get a game on, and like it must be, obviously it's still pricey, but I also don't think the Microsoft, and this isn't a dig on Microsoft at all, I don't think their quality control is as rigorous. I know you have to jump through a lot of hoops for Sony. I'm not saying that Microsoft have bad quality control, but I don't think it's as tediously rigorous as some of the Sony stuff for indie developers.
Indeed. Moving on to our next story. Final Fantasy XIV breaks its Steam concurrent players record.
Of course,
Speaking
there'd be
Steam.
Final Fantasy news.
Of course there
Of
is,
course.
guys. I'm back. It's Final Fantasy. You know what I'm talking about. It's Final Fantasy XIV. Square Enix's a long-running... Oh, this is over at Eurogamer, by the way, by Wesley Yinpaul. Square Enix's long-running MMO hits 47,542 concurrent players on Steam over the weekend, according to official stats provided by Valve's platform. That beats the game's previous record of 41,200 set in June 2019, just ahead of the Shadowbringers expansion. Oh, Adam, your camera's
I'm
off.
there.
I thought you disappeared then. Without a new expansion to boost player numbers right now, Endwalker is due out in November, players have suggested a number of possible reasons for Final Fantasy XIV's popularity boost, including a modest exodus from rival World of Warcraft. It's possible to know exactly how many players World of Warcraft has, as Blizzard Entertainment does not publish live player stats, but there is a sense online within Warcraft subreddits and social media that Final Fantasy XIV is a good current alternative to Blizzard's behemoth. Some popular Warcraft YouTubers and streamers, including Asmongold, video below, recently gave Final Fantasy XIV a shot to millions of viewers. It's likely some followed suit. In May, we reported Blizzard had lost another 2 million players across its titles. Reporting its latest financial results, Activision Blizzard said Blizzard specifically saw 27 million monthly active users in the first quarter of 2021. This was down from the 29 million MAUs Blizzard had. What does that mean? MAUs. Blizzard had in previous quarter. In fact, Blizzard has lost almost 29% of its overall active player base in 3 years. Is World of Warcraft in any trouble? Reporting its financials, Activision Blizzard said Blizzard saw revenue grow 7% year on year, led by strong growth in the Warcraft franchise. World of Warcraft's Shadowlands expansion continued to drive strong results, the company said. That was in May, reporting on the 3-month period to the end of March. How's World of Warcraft doing right now? Again, it's hard to say. Without official player numbers, Shadowlands 9.1 update, dubbed Chains of Domination, launched last week, over half a year after the expansion came out. And some have said this new content drought calls subscribers to consider other games. This to me is like crazy because World of Warcraft obviously has always been. Oh no, my camera's gone off.
Oh no, it's me.
You're still here, but
where's my camera gone?
No, my monitor's gone off. Oh no.
Oh, Terry's gone.
Oh no, have I actually gone?
Yep.
Yeah, you've just frozen.
Yep, you just frozen.
Guys.
Just as the Final Fantasy news happened.
Okay, guys. Wrap it up for me.
You sure you don't want me to stop and?
No. Wrap it up. But
all right, wrap it up.
Okay. All right.
Let's wrap this back.
Okay, well, I'll continue on that one then. Yeah. But I think this is great, isn't it? Really, like, it just shows the power of this game with Final Fantasy. You know, it just goes from strength to strength, really, doesn't it? What do you think, Vince?
It does. I mean, the fact that they're literally gouging players from World of Warcraft is an insane feat. No one would have saw 10 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, like when Warcraft was absolutely dominating the MMO landscape. To see a Final Fantasy game of all things, and from what 14 was in the beginning to what it is now, is stunning. This is good on them. Good on them for making a great game, and now I guess beating the shit out of Warcraft, the MMO.
I know, yeah. They've just stuck with that game and it's become a powerhouse in itself. I think it's a bit unfair to be talking too much about Final Fantasy without Terry on here. So I think we'll get his thoughts on it next news break. But I do have, and it's annoying that Terry's not here, I do have some breaking news, Vince. You know how I like on news break to bring in some breaking news.
Oh, for sure.
And this is probably, and I just want to check my. Oh, there he goes. He's fully gone.
He's gone now.
I just want to check my notes. I just need to bring it up just so I have the official wording on this. So just give me 1 second. But honestly, this is probably the biggest news that we've ever been able to break on Shifty Crab. So where is it? I had it a second ago, and
now I'm wondering if this is going to be actual news or not.
This is big news.
Okay. Of course. Here we go.
Because we just had the PlayStation State of Play, which means that our predictions are locked in. We've had every show. And ladies and gentlemen,
final, huh?
Let me break it down for you. Terry Jeffs. Mr. Terry Jeffs. His predictions were Horizon Forbidden West, in-game play, 2022 Q1 release date. We do not have a Q1 release date or a 2022 release date. So I don't believe he gets the points for that one. He had Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 footage shown. We did not have Final Fantasy VII Part 2 footage shown. He had God of War Ragnarok CG trailer 2022 release date. We do not have a God of War Ragnarok trailer. He had Metro Prime 4 announced with a 2022 release date. We do not have a 2022 release date for that game. We had an in-depth Final Fantasy 16 trailer and a 2022 release date. Now, Are we giving him this? Because was the
Mhm.
show about Final Fantasy 16? Didn't they have their own show just before E3?
Did they?
I'm sure there was a Final Fantasy show before. If you could verify
Let's
me
see.
on that one, and if it had a
Final
release date,
Fantasy, what, 16?
16.
Do. Well, here's one from PC Gamer. This was back in June of 2021.
That's when the show would have been.
Everything we know so far, which is nothing. When does it release? Square Enix hasn't given an official release date yet.
Okay, so he gets 0 points there. And then his final one, his Hail Mary, Red Dead Redemption 2 next gen trailer and September 2021 release date. 0 points. So Terry ends his predictions with 0 points. Mr.
0 points.
Vince Haley.
I get a point for today because we got a Deathloop trailer.
You do get a point for today. You end on 1 point because you had Halo Infinite opens the Microsoft presentation, which it didn't have. Gameplay trailer kind of had. Battle Royale announced, didn't.
It had something.
November 2021 release date. The multiplayer did, but but you didn't
also
get it. Didn't
open,
but it didn't open the presentation.
It didn't.
Nintendo closed with Breath of the Wild 2 trailer, release date of fall 2022. We do not have a fall release date yet, so you don't get the points.
2022 release date.
We do, but you don't have fall. Splinter Cell announced and a 2022 release date. Oh, we wished so hard.
We
no
did.
Points there.
That game's not happening.
Fable CG trailer closes the Microsoft show with a 2023 release date. Wasn't there. No. Jak and Daxter Trilogy remastered, full gameplay trailer, March 2022 release date. Nope. And for 1 point, another Deathloop trailer. You got a point.
I got a point. There. I'm on the board.
I had on the board. As my predictions. GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas fully remastered and a November release date. Boy, that didn't happen. A new BioShock game is announced in a brand new location. That did not happen. Starfield trailer and release date for this year. That did not happen. Forza Horizon 5 announced and to release this year, set in Mexico for 3 points.
Surprisingly, you nailed that one, which is wild.
I know, yeah. I just had that one. Microsoft buys Sega and announce it with a video heavily featuring Sonic. I was very wrong. IO Interactive announced another new game, which is exclusive for Xbox. That didn't happen.
Nope.
With 3 points, and there's only the two of us that actually had points on the board. Yeah. I am your E3 2021 Shifty Crab champion, which means yet again I have won the belt that I never lose. I believe this was a pizza bet, so I'm looking forward to my pizza. But we'll
that'll be on Terry.
Yeah, that's a long way for you to deliver a pizza.
It's a long way.
But yeah, I'd like to thank myself because I came up with these predictions and I absolutely nailed one of them.
One of them.
So did I. The other 5 were piss poor, but one of them.
I was so close.
I wasn't even close. Maybe Starfield. Like I was a year out, but there was at least a trailer for it. The rest of it, I was very, very off.
No.
You were pretty close. You were circling on a few of them. You just went too big.
A few of them, yeah. I did. Shame.
One of those, if you just got one of them down to a 2-pointer, you'd have you'd have tied. Like,
it would have happened.
But we'll be back next year to fight, duke it out again. But that's been the news. Just to summarize, there was a state of play for PlayStation. It was good. It was okay. Sifu looks amazing.
Looks amazing.
Ubisoft suck at the moment. They need to sort themselves out. Well done for Final Fantasy. Like, you deserve it.
For sure.
And well done to us because
Well done to us.
we
Even though we
made
have
it.
one more news story.
Oh, do we?
We have one more news story. This
It's not on my
comes
list.
from. It's not. It's not on your list
Oh,
this
it's
comes
got
from. I've got gaming news. I'm doing it right back. This is from Polygon via Michael McWhorter. Dark Souls 3 update boosts sun praising to 60 FPS on Xbox.
Okay. That's
Xbox
cool.
Series X and Series S owners can now experience Dark Souls 3 at 60 frames per second, thanks to an update that brings Microsoft's FPS boost feature to the game. So yeah,
That's
that's
cool.
the next game I'm going to play. I'm going to be playing at a crisp 60 frames per second. Hooray.
Perfect timing for you to
Perfect timing.
as you're about to jump in.
Yeah.
Let me tell you though, Vince.
Let me tell you.
It's not going to be Red Dead Redemption 2.
It's not going to be Red Dead 2?
That game, I can't play anything else at the moment. I haven't even touched Ratchet and Clank. Like, I'm just enjoying that game so much. I was going to ask you about this because I forgot to ask it on the podcast, and then we're going to wrap everything up because this is a bit different.
Of course.
If Red Dead Redemption 2 comes to Games Pass, which if it's going on to PlayStation now, I presume it will be over on Games Pass already.
Been and gone from Game Pass.
Been and gone. I'm sure it'll come back. Yeah. Like, do you think next time it comes on you will play it, or do you think you're just not bothered by that game in any way, shape, or form?
I'm always tempted because I always see it go on sale, and it's always like $35. I'm like, is this the time? Do I wait for it to go lower? Maybe not. But if it hits Game Pass, I might heavily consider it.
How about I sweeten the deal?
Okay.
I sweeten the deal. If you agree to play it, complete it, and give us a verbal review on either the podcast or the news, then I will, in advance, send you the new t-shirt I have designed just for you.
Just for me.
It's not Red Dead themed, so don't worry.
What? Okay. Yeah.
We have a gentleman's agreement.
We have a gentleman's agreement.
Next time it comes out on Games Pass, I'm not asking you to buy the game, but if it comes on Games Pass or Xbox Gold or whatever it's called for the other bit, but if you can play this game for free, then you will play it, complete it, stick with it, and give us an honest verdict of it.
Okay.
I genuinely think you'll really like the game.
Probably.
If you like Last of Us, there's a lot of similarities in the narrative style, I think.
Okay.
Okay. That is a fair bet. Wait until you see the t-shirt I've designed for you. And it is
just for you. Just for me.
When I was designing the Shifterton t-shirt, which is almost finished, I will be revealing the t-shirt because I don't know how. Well, I'm going to get your address after this. I'm going to get myself one as well because it is a good t-shirt.
Good t-shirt.
That's been Newsbreak. Just a reminder, guys, that you're watching this on YouTube, but on a Wednesday, you can watch our podcast, which is where we go off the rails, which we do on most shows anyway, but we go really off the rails and talk absolute nonsense for about 2 hours, and we really get into it. If you missed last week's episode, go back and watch it. I sat down with Vince. It was just like this, and we talked about Vince's life. We did Vince's interview. If you go back, you can see us play Emily is Away 2, see how we fared over a 2-part special. You could also see me being interviewed by Terry, me interviewing Terry, and then you can see us talk about food, talk about games, talk about food, talk about movies, talk about food, talk about games, talk about food. Like, there's a lot of food talk.
A lot of food talk.
A lot of food talk. But we will be back with a new podcast for you on Wednesday. So make sure you keep an eye out for that. Look for it on YouTube or any podcast services that you choose to listen to. Apart from that, keep an eye on social media for anything else from us. And I just need to say thank you to Terry. He says thank you. Thank you to the best beard in the business, Mr. Vince Haley.
Oh, always a pleasure. Never a chore.
Never a chore indeed. Thank you to myself. A thank you to you. And as always, stay shifty.